Hello everyone and welcome back to Rave Green TV, and in today's video we're going to be talking about this crazy news that came out a couple days ago. I do apologize that we were late on it. I was kind of ill, so we had to push the recording back a bit, but we finally made some time to make it happen and talk about this recent rumor news of the Seattle Sounders having conversations about bringing in Manchester United forward Marcus Rashford. And disclaimer, by no means are we saying the Sounders are getting Rashford. That's not the topic of today's video at all. It's more of talking about what was going on? Why was that report put out? What is that situation? What was that conversation? Just kind of explaining on why that news came out from the United stand, from Ben Jacobs and X, Y, and Z. So first and foremost, we're going to stick up the piece of the video where Ben Jacobs brought up the Seattle Sounders and how that news broke out originally. So I'm going to play the clip for you all right now.
Then there are some suggestions that MLS has an appetite for Rashford. I'm not so sure that he'd want to go there, but the MLS deals sometimes, not in every case, are funded centrally with support from MLS and Apple, the streaming partner. As with Lionel Messi, Rashford clearly doesn't quite fall into that category, but he might be able to get a package if there is MLS interest, providing that there's central support. And I'm told that the club that at least has asked the question, though nothing is particularly advanced at this point, is Seattle. And they've had an internal conversation. And the reason why it's Seattle is because they are a Club World Cup representative, which is of appeal to anyone they may wish to sign. And in addition to that, they're likely to get a minimum of between 40 and 60 million pounds for entering the Club World Cup. So MLS can turn around to its Club World Cup representative, Seattle and Inter Miami, and say, you can suddenly afford to pay for these stars. So budget may not be a problem, but we shouldn't overblow the MLS links, because at this stage, Seattle haven't reached out to either the Rashford camp or Manchester United. It's just an internal discussion that you would expect to advance in January rather than the summer if they chose to proceed, because obviously the MLS calendar means that January is almost like summer in the sense that you're lining up your main stars and your players with a view to the beginning of the MLS season.
And then the United stand made this post on their Twitter that absolutely blew up. Everybody was talking about it. Everyone was curious, are the Sounders actually going in for Rashford? And then the Sounders reporter is saying, no, there's no way it's going to happen. People thought it was a fake rumor, this and that. I want to clarify this first and foremost. It's not a fake rumor and it's not fake news. Ben Jacobs is a very reputable sports broadcaster in the UK, and he is probably one of the biggest names in like Premier League football. So it's not fake, but it's kind of like we're here to explain this whole situation, because it's not like the Sounders are going in for Rashford, but it's not like this news was fake per se. So we're here to kind of clarify all of that. But first and foremost, Brody, what was kind of your thoughts on the whole Rashford thing? And then kind of just talking about your thoughts on everything Ben Jacobs talked about in that video that began this whole rumor mill.
Yeah, so we're gonna get into a deep dive on this topic, but I'm not gonna lie, man. The moment that I saw your text to me, like all logic went out the window. I just saw Rashford and Sounders. I'm like, no way, no way. But yeah, I mean, listen, like you were saying, it's not. Anyone that said it's like fake rumors, it's not fake. Obviously, there's a very low, next to impossible chance that this would happen. Once the high of seeing the Sounders name linked with Marcus Rashford went away, then we eventually got, started to break it down, and obviously it's not a move that's likely to happen. But yeah, I think what it was more than likely just the Sounders trying to see if they could pull off a Messi, a Dempsey signing. Like if we went to them and said, hey, is there anything we could do to make a deal like this happen? Maybe they were trying to see if Marcus Rashford was a high-profile enough name for this to be a plausible thing. I think that's really all it was. And the only realm of possibility that this could even happen is obviously with the MLS's help. It would also be dependent on how much exactly we'd be getting for the Club World Cup. But other than that, obviously it's not going to happen. But it was a bit of fun for sure.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of like what people should take this as is it was kind of just it's been a while since the Sounders have really had their names in like these big rumors. You know, you always hear about when big players want to come to the league, it's always the Galaxies, the Miami. So it was super interesting to see. Holy shit, the Sounders, Rashford, same sentence. Reporter said them both together in the exact same video. Like this is just absolutely bonkers. And I think as you said, I was in the same boat. I was like, is this like make believe? Like, was this fake? Like, this surely can't be real. And then you see who said it, you see who's reporting it, and things like that. And you're like, holy smokes, this is actually legit. And as you said, I think it's more so of the Sounders are kind of just trying to, feel the landscape of what MLS can help them out with. It, and as it said in the report and as spoken about in the clip from Ben Jacobs, it's more of like, as it stated, it was internal conversation. And to clarify that, it's more of the internal conversation between the Sounders and the league. That's all that conversation was. There's no direct talk between Rashford, the Sounders, his representatives, X, Y, and Z, but it's more so Sounders in the league because, as you all may remember, when Dempsey came to MLS, the league helped the Sounders make that move happen. It was also their help, and the same thing with Messi's move coming to Inter Miami. The league participated actively in making this happen, and that's what they've done to help bring in these big names at the time to the league. They have to help fund it, and because they know it will benefit the league, bring more eyes to the league, viewership. They know it's profitable nonetheless. So the Sounders, I think, we're kind of trying to feel out, could they pull something like this off? Would the league support them in it? Is Rashford, as you said, Brody, a big enough name to do this with? Messi has a cut in the Apple TV deal and many other MLS, lucrative offers that are included in his contract. It's not just his salary. Same thing with when Beckham came here, he got a fixed rate to in the future own his own MLS team for a super cut rate price. And when I mean super, like we're talking like Black Friday to the max. And so this is kind of what this whole thing was about. But the main premise of this video is kind of just talking about our thoughts and what this means for the Sounders. What are these implications? Because we've talked about it many, many times on this channel about kind of the Sounders' ambitions. Since like 2020, we haven't really made any big signings. It seems like the team's very complacent with their transfer business, with sticking with that same roster. But kind of what this shows me, because I think this is the biggest positive, and this is what made me so happy, regardless if this transfer was or was not happening, is the Sounders they're keeping one eye out to be like, you know what? We should probably try to make a splash and try to get someone, yes, that has that big market value, but as well could help the team. Because it's not like Marcus Rashford is just a big old head name. Marcus Rashford is a really good player that can play in a lot of attacking positions that we are in dire need of help in, of goals, assists, X, Y, and Z, and has like 5 to 6 to 7 more good years left in the tank. So what that tells me is the Sounders are at least looking at these things. They're considering these things. They're willing to put their names in the hat to these things. Obviously, this is the first big report. I think this might be one of the biggest reports ever in Sounders history at us being interested to bring here. I think he's probably the biggest one of a concrete report. To me, this just signals, you know what? As much as our transfer business, in my opinion, hasn't been great this window, I will tip my hat that at least we were talking to the league about making something like this happen. And it gives me hope that come the summertime, when that's the off season for the entirety of the world, there's going to be more players available, that the Sounders could try and talk to the league about bringing in a big player like Marcus Rashford to our team as a DP, because obviously Morris is probably going to fill that last spot, but you can always, if you bring in a DP, you put in the money, you can always put him back to his, his old TAM deal or whatever. Obviously that's the nitty gritty, but they could make something like that happen in the next window, especially with so many more options of players available. So that was the big positive and takeaway for me with this whole thing.
Yeah, and I think obviously it's hard to be positive necessarily with the last few windows, the lack of activity from us. But we are, I feel like, overlooking that we are usually a team that when we make a big splash, typically, like you saw with Ladero, with Rui Diaz, and others, typically we do like to splash in the summer. Obviously, those moves were from, under a different regime. That's all we can hope for at this point, to be honest with you. And I feel like, as quick as we just gave Jordan Morris the DP, I'm assuming by roster rules, we can just, take that DP slot back. And, I'm not sure when that Club World Cup money even hits. Then obviously you have the rumors with Obed Vargas eventually going to go somewhere else, whether it's Club America or Europe. We could be a sneaky summer window DP signing, we could be that, and that's what I'm hoping for. Like with this news, it just shows that we're looking, even if it's something like where we're just kind of inquiring about what a deal like this could take. At least it's showing that we have some sort of ambition. But even like then, like if we pulled off a Rashford signing, like that's not even just ambition. That's like Craig Weibel, forgive everything you've ever done, get you a statue next to the stadium kind of ambition, you know? So even if we brought in, not a Rashford level player, but if we brought in, you know, a good DP caliber player in the summer, I'm hoping this is like a sign of that, a sign that we're at least looking and trying to see what our options are for that big signing.
I just think what the funniest part about all this is like it goes from such 0 to 100. You know, you see all the rumors so far this summer. You're like, you see Areola, Ferreira, like to a degree, yeah, it's fine, but it doesn't make you jump out of your seat. You've waited so long. You renew Rusnak to a DP, and then bam, Rashford. Like, what the? Like, how did we go from 0 to 100?
Yeah, just golly, man, just a regular day at work. I'm outside taking my dog to the bathroom. I just look at my phone. I see, bro, look at this. Check this out. Dude, the amount of dopamine that hit in that moment, man, it was crazy.
And I agree with you. I think what's so good about this is it might show that, because the reason why they were probably inquiring about Rashford is they knew he was leaving this January window. So it's like that's a player that already wants to leave. And so it's like when the summer window hits, there's going to be plethora of Rashford, not maybe to that level, but plethora of Rashford-esque European players of, you know, high caliber available in the summer. So I think what Sounders, Craig, whoever ownership, we're trying to, you know, feel the waters, be like, okay, could we pull something like that off? Would MLS be willing to support us in this? How much would it cost us? You know, and X, Y, and Z. And as you brought up, I mean, regardless if the money is not 50 mil, Sounders are, every team's getting comp something at this FIFA Club World Cup. That is for sure. It's just what the number will be. As you said, Obed Vargas. I would have liked us to have sold some more players so we had more roster flexibility. That was the big thing for me is I don't mind if you want to have kind of like a semi-poor window, this window, and then really go hard in the paint, using a basketball term, in the summer window. The problem is what annoys me is we've done this like merry-go-round like 2 to 3 times already, where we're like, oh, Craig's just waiting for this window. Oh, Craig's just waiting for this window, or Craig's waiting for X contracts to be up. And I'm like, dude, we've said this for like 2 years now. Craig didn't do anything the last 2 summer windows. Everyone was like, no, trust me, Sean, this window, it's gonna happen at the end of 2024. And now we're here and we're like, we basically renewed everybody. We didn't sell anyone of big significance for any money. We've brought in just some side MLS pieces, if you agree it's good or bad. And it's like, now we're at the point where like, don't worry, Sean, Craig will do something big in the summer. And that, I mean, I want to believe it. Don't get me wrong. And this indicates that that could be the case, but it's like that J. Cole, you know, that verse in J. Cole's song, you know, fool me once, shame on you. And I don't want to get fooled for a 4th time already, you know, like there was no fool me 4 times in that song. So it's like, how patient can we be with Craig and the ownership? But this is a good indicator, and I don't want to be negative because this is a positive. And again, disclaimer, we're not going for Rashford. It's already been confirmed. It's not going to happen. Tom Bogert's spoken about it. Sounders reporter has spoken about it. But it's like, I don't like how everyone's like really scoffing at this and being like, this is stupid, like this and that. And I'm like, what's wrong with being optimistic about the signings or thinking? Because, you know, you shoot for the stars, maybe you land on the moon, you know, like think higher and you still will have a big, but it's like, I think Sounders fans have been so dumbed down and have now just kind of circled around this whole of like, we don't deserve anything like this. We can't do anything like this. It's not possible.
We're not allowed
like,
to have dreams.
yeah, exactly.
It's just like, it's just not a win. It's just not a winning mindset, bro. It's just not. And the fact that we are, some of those fans even see Rashford mentioned, they just automatically want to be like, oh, you shut this down. Oh, you're dumb for even like looking into anything other than this being fake. It's like, live a little, man. Live a little bit. You know what I mean? Not like anyone's, obviously we're not going to get Rashford. Like, how many times we got to make that disclaimer? Nobody thinks we're getting Rashford. But no, I mean, like you were saying, just to look at it in the sense of like, okay, even if it was just small talks, the fact that we're even inquiring about this just shows that hopefully we have something planned. Maybe it's not going to be as big as that because I mean, that's one of the most. That's probably one of the top 20 most well-known players in the world, to be honest. So even if, like you're saying, if we shoot for the stars and land on the moon, you know what I mean? Like, I'm fine with that. I'm fine if we get a nice DP signing in the summer. We get money freed up somehow. But like, I don't even think that's gonna happen. To be honest, I think it's gonna be more of like like you were saying, trust me, Weibel's gonna make a move here, and then we get to the summer, it's like, well, you know what? It's like we didn't sell Obed. There's still some this, that, and the third, and then wait for the winter. That's probably what's gonna happen. So temper your expectations, but it was fun. It was fun seeing our name linked with Rashford, and hopefully that means we have ambition to make a big signing in the summer. That's all we can hope for. So
I think just take the positives, enjoy it. Think it's a cool story, and definitely, I thought it'd be me and Brody thought it'd be a fun video, just kind of talk about it, because I think there's a lot of extremes with this. Like, people are like, "Oh, it's fake," or "Oh, we're going in for it's all this," but it's like, there's some truth in it, and obviously we just kind of gave our opinion to it, so there's some truth to it, and not jumping the gun on anything, but it's there's a conversation to be had with Rashford, but mine and Brody's opinion only matters so much. You guys got to let us know in the comments down below. What was your thoughts when this news broke out? What was your guys' reaction to it? Let us know your thoughts in the comments down below. If you have not already, make sure to become a member on the channel. Just got to simply click the first link in the description, or just click the join button that's right next to the subscribe button. Smash the like button on today's video. Subscribe if you're not subscribed already, and I hope you'll have a lovely day.